My experiences with both abortions were humiliating and cold. The ladies assisting the doctor were so rude to me. They had no compassion and simply performed the procedure without telling me what was happening. I never knew how many weeks pregnant I was. My mother wouldn't discuss it either. She grew up in a generation where these things were not talked about. She shared no words of compassion. I would have loved to have had someone in my life that I felt I could have spoken to. I have thought many times about how different life would have been for me. I had an older sister, and I tried to talk to her about it, and she was very angry at me for going through with it. Years would pass before I could get up the courage to openly discuss this among Christian friends. The church my husband and I attended in North Carolina was the first church that I felt loved by the people there. This was also the church where I became a true believer in Jesus. The guilt I had for having the abortions was the thing that I thought God could never forgive me for. I prayed all the time for forgiveness, but never could believe that He could. A few years after becoming a Christian, I was on a church women's retreat, and we were discussing things we were holding on to in our lives and that we needed to turn over to God. We did an exercise that night. We wrote down what we were battling against on a piece of paper and then threw it in a fire. It was that night that I knew God had already forgiven me the first time I asked. I know I am forgiven. Simply being in church never really helped me. It only hindered me. I never felt the truth was something you actually spoke at church. Too many Christians place it upon themselves to judge others, even though it is taught that only Christ will be our true judge. But being the young girl who was only looking for acceptance and inclusion, I could never risk telling the truth for fear of rejection. Once my relationship with Jesus was a real and true relationship, then the opinions of others simply weren't a priority anymore. Approval of Christ was what began to truly matter.
If Mia's story touched something deep inside you, you're not alone. The new novel, An Angel's Blood, puts faces to the tragedy and offers hope to every heart still carrying the sting. Step into its pages, feel the truth. Let the story show you. Freedom is possible. Healing is real. An Angel's Blood. Change the conversation. Touch a heart. Get your copy today.